There it goes. Hey everybody, this is Surina. You're watching now, it's so vivid. Where's my lens? I always lose track of the lens because my camera does the flip thing. Okay, there you go. Hey. I come to you very awkwardly on a Monday. It's President's Day, so I don't have to work. I got some really good sleep. And I was inspired this morning to sit in front of my camera and talk about a subject that deeply interests me. And I don't have a script or anything. I'm just gonna blurt out some thoughts as I think them because I have nobody to talk to about this, so I'll talk to y'all. That's why we're here, right? To have a little discussion. Oh no! And hopefully not ruin everything. Okay, wait. This video is already pretty wild. So yes, I'm here today to talk about something that kind of interests me in terms of a philosophical subject within the occult world, and that is the subject of crazy. It's interesting to me that I feel like very often if you're interested in the occult or if you have any sort of metaphysical or spiritual leanings, that oftentimes even from people of other spiritual affiliations, you'll get the criticism that, oh, you're just crazy, or that they somehow try to minimize or delegitimize your beliefs. And I mean, we're all guilty of that. It's very easy for me to delegitimize somebody else's belief if they don't align with my own. You know what I mean? If they follow a completely different religious structure and I just don't understand it, it's very easy for me to try to explain it away. But very, very rarely anymore do I find myself believing it's because I think the other person doesn't have their total wits about them. I would say that in the past couple of years, I've really sort of embraced the idea of crazy in that it can be beneficial to your spiritual practice. And I know that that's kind of, I can't just leave that thought there. I know that this is kind of a touchy subject because I do know of some people, certain folks who believe that the term crazy or insane or anything similar is only a pejorative. It's only ever used as an insult. That's the only way it should ever be taken, and we should not use that term. And I am not a subscriber to that idea because, well, first of all, I don't like the idea that someone else can make up my mind for me about what the word crazy means. I come from a lineage of people with mental illness, and yes, unfortunately, in my personal life, especially in my family, crazy hasn't always manifested in the most healthy ways. But that doesn't mean that it's always subject to that. I have come in the recent past to find that the crazy is the currency of creative ideas, and it can be the wellspring of really powerful art and very interesting subjects. People will proffer ideas that once sound crazy but then turn into scientific theory. So, we shouldn't discount the idea of crazy or completely diminish it altogether, because it can be a positive thing. And I realized that this is actually something that I tend to sense quite a little bit in the pagan world, I guess. If you have a spiritual revelation, if you're seeing lots of synchronicities, it's very easy for someone else to just say, oh, but that's all in your mind. Well, yeah, so what if it is? What if it is all in my mind? Does that somehow delegitimize what I'm experiencing? Does that make it less of a life lesson if someone else tries to explain it away or over-rationalize it? Because I think that, while you should apply some very level-headed logic to certain things in your life, especially if you intend to function, there are certain things that are just inexplicable. And I feel like if you dabble in the world of witchcraft, that's gonna start popping up a lot more than it used to, and perhaps precisely for the fact that you're looking for it. But I don't think that I don't think that strips the experience of its significance or of its impact just because you've come to the conclusion that you could all have just been summoning this in your mind. Isn't that the idea? We're all here as witches to manifest and to, bring our dreams into reality. So that could be crazy. I'm totally willing to accept if that's crazy. But that doesn't mean it doesn't work. And that doesn't mean that it's wrong. I feel like a lot of people, I don't know, maybe I'm just projecting here, or maybe I'm getting an idea that I'm misinterpreting somehow, but I occasionally see or sense within online pagan circles that people are very hesitant to mess with shit too much. You know what I mean? Like, I think I've definitely seen the sentiment of, oh, you can't fuck with nature. We are nature. And the funny thing is, like, we could easily dive into a discussion about the question of free will, because there are some people who believe that we have a trajectory in the universe that cannot be rewritten. It's essentially fate set in stone. We just don't know what it is, because the universe is essentially a math equation. Like, we are flying through raw space at a certain speed, and all of the variables are there, but it's not as up to free will as we perceive it to be. But then there are other people that think that within that you are still able to write your own destiny. And I don't know where I fall on this subject. I think I go back and forth a few times, but to me it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if our destinies are written or if we can write them ourselves, because we'll never really know. We'll never know. So we have this moral question, like, is it okay for me to, mess with the powers that be and assume control over something? And I would say that inherently, no, I don't think that it is wrong for you to want to assume control of your life, or to, use your magical powers to sort of force things into your favor and stuff like that. But I think that there's also repercussions from doing stuff like that too. So you do have to have kind of a balanced mindset, because you can be all controlling. You know what I mean? You can go overboard, and the more you try to control, the more it affects other people, and the ripple effect happens and stuff like that. And it happens anyway. Like, no matter what you do, every action you take in this life affects other people. But I think that there is something to be said for restraint also. I know that I've veered off the topic of crazy a little bit here. I'll come back to it, but it does all sort of string together this idea that your mind is limiting, or is limited and finite. And perhaps it's because I am the kind of pagan that subscribes to the universal consciousness idea, is that I really don't believe that to be the case. I think that your mind is just sort of like a power source of your particular consciousness, the kind that you have actual grasp on. And sometimes we don't even have full grasp on our own thoughts, guys. Sometimes they come in, whether we're expecting them or not, or they're buried deep within us in the depths of our subconscious, and then they come bubbling up to the surface, and we're like, whoa, where did that come from? But in terms of us only having the power to control our own thoughts, yeah, I've never found that to be the case, because the way that our thoughts happen within us translate into our actions in the actual world. So, of course, our actions have, an effect on everything around us, from our environment down at the cellular level to interpersonal connections with other people. And on cultural levels too. Like, we shouldn't discredit any of this. There's this fascinating idea to me that we are all part of the same mind. I know that I'm not the first person to say this, but it is kind of like I have latched onto this idea that, you know, it's very possible that this universe is just a cell in someone's mind, and we are all part of the same thought or the same brain, the same brain cell. And that is perhaps the most humbling thought that I've ever come across, because it sort of brings focus to the idea that we are all connected, or are all part of the same living structure, the same organism. And I think I personally can find a lot of compassion in that it's not really about me against the world. It's me and the world together. And I feel like that is another thing that's often scoffed at and perceived as crazy. And once again, maybe it is, but I think it's worth it to embrace your eccentricities and explore innovative ideas in the name of crazy. And I think that we can actually better the world if we just try it. If it comes from a good place, if it comes from a heart place, if it comes from a sense of courage, we can change the world for the better. And we can do it as a bunch of fucking crazies. And then that will become the new norm. And then what will the next crazy be? I wonder. So, I think that's it from me for today. This was a short little chat where I rambled a lot. And I haven't even had breakfast yet. I'm just sort of sitting here with my coffee. Where'd my coffee go? There it is. So me and coffee and Pixel and painting. So that's what I've been doing this morning. I hope everyone is having a lovely February. This happens to be my least favorite month for several reasons. One among them is that I always just go fucking stir crazy at the end of winter. I cannot wait for spring to come so that I can spend more time outside. I just want to get muddy. And I feel like I can't do that right now because everything's cold. So yeah. I'll be looking forward to the months to come when the weather warms up here in the northern hemisphere. And getting back into the swing of things. And I've got a lot of exciting adventures coming up, maybe some of which I will actually put up on my YouTube channel if I'm lucky enough to do that. There might be some copyright issues, so I'm gonna check into that ahead of time. But just so that you guys know what I'm up to, this weekend I am attending the Millennium Music Conference here in Harrisburg, which is very exciting. I am going to hopefully learn a few things about the music business and meet a few people and take a lot of notes and just be a sponge and absorb the experience, because this is an exciting new part of my journey. I am essentially trying to juggle 2 jobs and am pursuing a 3rd right now, so this is gonna be great. We'll see how it goes. I'm pretty optimistic. So, I'm going to shut up now and let you all go. I hope you have a lovely Monday. See you next time. Sweet dreams, guys. Mwah.